This episode is a tribute to icon Chris Jasper. We're broadcasting an original conversation from the IAM Indie Show hosted by Lamont Patterson and his guest, Chris Jasper. We hope that you enjoy the conversation just as much.
Yeah, old school. That's what I'm talking about. Listen, this ain't for everybody. Some of y'all need to hear this. I know you're in the trenches fighting, but check it out. I'm going to put it down like this so I can help the saints understand. Everything you're going through is all part of the master plan. Or what? You thought because you got saved everything was going to be peaches and cream? You better wake up, son. Don't nothing come to a sleeper but a dream. Faith without works is dead. Read your Bible. You know what it says. He who don't work don't eat. Blackers don't get fed. Yeah, Jesus said he who puts his hand to the plow looks back the same ain't fit. Some of y'all ain't been in the trenches 5 minutes and you about ready to quit. I ain't mad at you. I'm just hitting you with the real. If you died for me and I was still tripping, now how you think that make you feel? Check this out. Deep game. This here's deep. Some of y'all ain't sawing nothing but you started trying to reach. But after him who was able to position fathers by his glory. Struggles might be part of your testimony, but it ain't the end of the story. Now the point is this was prophesied way back in the day. Choir, sing the hook right here and see if the church can relate.
I know we can make it. Oh, we can make it. I know good and well. I can work it out. Work it out. Work it out. Yeah, he'll work it out. I know we can make it. We can make it. I know good and well. I can work it out. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. Yeah.
Thinking not strange, the fiery trials are to try you. You say, why you? But your church say, what would Jesus do? Why you asking if he ain't trying to do what he's saying? He told you he was going to have tribulations, but you thought he was playing. 1 minute you're telling how good God is and can't nobody beat your talk. The next minute you're backsliding so fast, it's like you're moonwalking. Oh yeah, I preach it to myself because I ain't no better. It ain't like I've been following his every word, obeying it to the letter. So we soldiers, we got to remember that. Regroup, stay on point. Yeah, bow down, confess, repent, stay humble, let him anoint. It ain't easy as I thought it was. I'd be lying if I told you that. But it showed up getting better all the time. Trust me, that's the fact. Ain't nothing we going through that can't be handled. God put that on his tongue. Like they say, you can shout now if you want to, because the battle's already won. So while you're going through the valley, don't even trip. You're going to be on top. Choir, sing the hook line one more again. This time you don't stop.
I know we can make it. We can make it. I know good and well. I can work it out. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. He'll work it out. We can make it. I know good and well. Oh, yeah. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. If you let him, I know good and well. He can work it out. 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 Oh, he'll work it out. I know we can make it. We can make it. I can work it out. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. He's gonna work it out for me. If you let him, I know good and well he can work it out.
Blessed are the poor.
Yes, he can. Yes, he can. Yes, he can.
Blessed are those who mourn.
Yes, he can. Yes, he can. Yes, he can.
Blessed are the meek.
Yes, he can. Yes, he can. Yes, he can.
Blessed are those who hunger and thirst after righteousness.
I know we can make it. I know good and well I can work it out. Yes, he can. Yes, he can.
Yeah. We're going to pump the brakes right there, everybody, because I know we could make it because Big Boy said we're going to make it, you know. It's my belief, and I hope it is yours, too, that he's going to help us find our way through this thing. And I hope everybody's doing well, you're safe, and doing everything you're supposed to do so you can see you tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. But anyway, this is your host, Lamont Patterson, and you are listening to IAM INDI. And as usual, we got a dynamic show lined up for you. Got a very, very, very special guest. I know everybody in my age bracket and the ones that aren't in my age bracket know about this young man, a very talented musician, songwriter. And if you know anything about the Isley Brothers, you should know something about Chris Jasper. And if you don't know, you will know, you know, because that's what this is all about today, you know what I mean? So sit back and let us bless your ears with some of Chris's new music, and let him tell you about what's going on. Chris, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Yeah, man. Thanks for having me with you. Glad to be
man,
here.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, man. You know, we haven't spoken in a minute. I'm glad you're here to be speaking with me.
Yeah, man. You know, it's kind of crazy now, but you know, we just staying here. We're staying close to home and doing everything we're supposed to do. So, you know, I would advise everybody else to do the same. You know, stay safe and stay strong.
Yeah, man, would hopefully, man, and you, first of all, man, we got to tell everybody use common sense, man, because there's so many mixed messages out there. You know, one person tell you this, another person tell you that, but, you know, like Mama used to tell us, man, common sense is not common.
Mhm. Yeah, that's true. You know, yeah, but yeah, you know, do the things that you know work. You know, stay safe, like I said, and this thing's gonna, you know, pass. It's gonna pass. And I just can't wait to get back to normal. You know.
Okay, well, hey, look, I kind of hesitated for a moment, Chris. I'm like, okay, now what is the new normal going to be?
No, not new normal. Just, you know, not having to camp out. You know. You know, back to you know, going down to the movies, to the restaurants, you know, and you know, doing the things we used to do. You know.
Yeah, I understand, but you know, this is giving us some time to self-reflect and to look at the things that we've been doing, things that we are doing, and the things that we want to do. So it has been giving us that opportunity.
Mhm. Yeah.
Definitely been giving us that opportunity. Well, let me tell my listeners a little bit about you. I'm sure you know the ones that don't know should know. This is Mr. Chris Jasper. He's one of the dynamic writers, songwriters, musicians that put the Isley Brothers on the map. And I know everybody know who the Isley Brothers are, and I'm sure you're familiar with, you know, Chris's music, Between the Sheets, and For the Love of You, and Fight the Power. And I know everybody know those songs. So sit back and let us get into this conversation. If you have any questions and you want to chat with Chris, just press number 1 on your phone, and we'll be glad to let you in and talk to the man personally. So, Chris, let's start off with a little bit about, I don't know the early background and what got you interested in this music business.
Well, I guess it started when I was really, really young. I was you know, little kid and about 7 years old. And actually my mother, you know, got me to start taking piano lessons because she saw me, you know, playing like some of, you know, the artists like Sam Cooke, Ray Charles stuff. You know, I used to hear it on the radio, and I'd go over to the piano and start trying to play it by ear. And she said, hey, you have a good ear for music. You got to, you know, learn how to read music. So she hooked me up with a professor that she knew, and she started teaching me a lot about, you know, music and composition and how to read music, and I started to really pay attention, and I learned a lot about composing from a very young age, and I think that's what got me started with music, because I was always, you know, my first love was R&B. I always loved the R&B artists like, you know, Marvin Gaye and Sam Cooke and Ray Charles and all the other ones too, and it started real early for me.
You know, there was a time that well, at least where I come from, either you played music, played sports, or picked cotton. But you know, there was a time in the early days, you know, where They had a lot more music programs, you know, and I talked to a lot of the seniors, or should I say elected officials nowadays, about the subject where, you know, they took a lot of music programs out of school at an early age. You know, I remember, you know, playing in the band in elementary school and you know, learning harmony and stuff like that. And, you know, they gave you an instrument to take home without you having any money.
That's right.
You know, and we didn't have computers back then, so we had to learn how to read music and play an instrument. And I really hate that they did that now. I mean, they gave them computers. They know how to sample music, you know, from, you know, guys like yourself. You know, they learn how to sample that, but I feel like we lost a lot of musicians.
Yeah, I think that was a big mistake, taking music education out of the curriculums. I mean, there's even been studies done that show that when people can read music, it helps them learn in other ways too. It's almost like learning another language, and it's really good for your mind, even if you don't, choose music for a career. It's good to learn how to, play an instrument. I remember coming up, there was always a piano in a person's house I went to, or apartment, and somebody in their family could play the piano, and it was part of the culture, that learning an instrument was part of the culture. And I think we've gotten away from that, and it's too bad, because all of the songs that, like came out, during the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and 80s, a lot of those musicians were trained, like I was, especially the arrangers and the composers. And a lot of great music came out of that era, And I think it's a large part because, like you were saying, people grew up learning how to play instruments. And the musicians are the ones that kind of establish what music is going to sound like, And there was so much diversity back then. Even in the R&B genre, there was so much diversity. You had groups like Earth, Wind & Fire. You had James Brown. You had the whole Motown sound. You had Philly International. You had the Isley Brothers. You had, the Commodores. You had P-Funk. You had Sly and the Family Stone. All of them having their own style. And I'm sure it's because, they were musicians, and it really blessed us with great music.
Yeah, various different artists with various styles, and I hear I talk to a lot of young artists today, and they say, "Well, I got my own thing, I got my own music, and I got my own sound," and it's kind of funny, Chris, because I always ask them, I say, "Well, what did your mother and daddy listen to?" You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not nearly as much diversity as it used to be. A lot of people are copying each other. A lot of songs sound the same. Sometimes you can't tell one artist from the next, and I think that's because the lack of musicianship.
Right.
Because generally a musician will know what musical direction he wants to take. Like Donny Hathaway didn't sound the same as some other artists, or like a Motown artist. He had his own direction. And that's what you get when you have musicians. And Hathaway, he was also a trained musician. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. A lot of them were. Even I didn't even know Marvin Gaye was really a great pianist until I started to learn more about him.
Right.
But
he told me I couldn't. He told me I couldn't play basketball worth nothing. He also dabbled in sports a little bit too, But he was, again, musicians generally have their own direction they want to take, and that's good for music. You know what I mean? I think that's really good for music to have all those different branching out, and it really enriches our musical experience. How do you feel about artists? Should I say artists that deal with different producers? And certain producers, they always want to lock artists into exclusive deals. But my thought was, the more different producers you deal with, it kind of opens you up. It brings out things that you don't even know that's within yourself. How do you feel about that?
Well, that is true. So different producers have different, concepts of what they want the music to sound like. I think I always believe the more you're exposed to, the more you're going to be able to take your music in different directions. And producers is another way to do it, because, Quincy is going to be different than, say, some other producers, because, right. He's going to be different because of his background. Look where he took Michael Jackson, Look how his music just opened up, when Quincy got involved. And producers do have their vision too, and
right.
That's important.
Yeah, I always thought it was a good thing for an artist to, to work with different producers. Like you said, different producers got different styles. They hear different things, and a lot of times they hear and see talent within us that we don't see ourselves yet.
Mhm. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I know that from experience. I know that from experience because there's songs that I wrote for the Isley Brothers that they would have never, the older guys would have never thought to write. They would never thought to write some of those songs. But I heard it, and I knew, hey, if we go this direction, it would be good. But again, like I said, it generally comes from people who have that broad background in music that can take music someplace else. You know what I mean? I always believe a person can't produce what is not inside of them, what they don't have experience with. That's why even in sports you want a coach that has experience, who has done this before, who has lived it. You know what I mean? And his vision for a team, can take a team a certain place. Like a great example was when Walsh took over the 49ers. I don't know if you remember that period of the 49er period. But it took the team to another level, another place, and another scheme, offensive schemes, that I'm sure a lot of the players weren't thinking about,
Right.
But when he got involved, it took that team, to Super Bowls, And it's the same thing in music. When a person has experience and background in music, Quincy also, he produced Brothers Johnson too. He's a heavy guy, as far as experience, and it took them to another place. I just think that's very important, that whoever is producing has a vision of where they want that music to go, or where they want that artist to do within the context of that music, and that's very important.
I certainly agree with that. On the flip side, nowadays in the industry, they say you sound so much like this. So I mean, it's good and bad. You know what I mean? Because if you sound like too much like somebody, then it's not a good thing. But then if you sound a little bit like somebody, but not quite like somebody, it's a great thing. It just kind of depends on the A&R, the people, and how they listening, and they really won't say they know what they're looking for, but they really do, because they want to compare you with other artists, and then they don't want you to be too much like that artist because they don't want the competition either.
Mhm. So. Yeah, I could understand that. Yeah.
So Chris, so since the Isleys, what have you been doing?
I've been doing, really concentrating on my own material, basically. I've produced some other artists too, and I did some work with Shaka Khan, on her CK album. But I've been basically concentrating on my own albums, and the album that I've just finished and that's coming out June 1st, that's going to be my 16th solo album. And it's an album that kind of people were asking me to do, for so many years. Like, why don't you go back and do some of the Isley Brothers songs, that you wrote, back in the day. And it just so happens that my son got married in September, and he asked me to do another version of For the Love of You, the song that was big when I was with the group. And I said, okay, let me mess around. Let me see what I can come up with. And I started working with it, and as I work with it, I liked it more and more, and that was the first song I did for this album, which is an album of covers, and 3 of them are from the Isley Brothers catalog. I did a Sam Cooke song, one of his classics, "Nothing Can Change This Love." That's the single that's out now, and some other popular songs too. And so that was something that I used to do with the group too, is rearrange, a song that was popular, like "Hello, It's Me" or "Don't Let Me Be Lonely Tonight," "Summer Breeze," and I kind of like to do that too. So it was a fun album to do, to do my own arrangements of songs that people were familiar with,
Yeah, I can definitely imagine, because as a perfectionist, you always want to see what you could do better.
Yeah, you want to make add some new elements to it. You know what I mean? You want the song to be recognizable, but then at the same time, add a little new flavor in there, and sometimes totally different musical statements. And that work well with it too. And that's fun to me, because it brings back a lot of the things that I learned in composition. Studying composition, and how to treat a theme, how to invert it, how to do different things to it to make it new and fresh, So,
what would you tell artists out there that they always want to do something new, and they never want to, they always want to do new songs, but seem like they don't want to continue to do the songs that made them happen, if that makes sense?
I kind of know what you mean, and that happens, I think, because of maybe people around them. Sometimes a label will be, pushing an artist in a certain direction, or, someone close to them can be saying, hey, well, I think you can do this as well, But generally, it's good to know where you're strong, where your strong point is. I think every artist should know that. What is it about you that makes you? For me, it happened to be, how I write music, my composition style, the way I produce, the sounds I put in my record, the chord structures that I use are different, and they're unique, and that's what gives me my identity, I realized that a long time ago, and so that's why I maintain that. I maintain that to this day. I write new songs, but there's certain things that will remain within the context of the music that gives it its identity, and other people may have different strong points. I don't know. But that's one thing you have to realize, is what am I really, really good at, and what is it that people really, really appreciate about what I do. And I think if you get the further away from that you get, I think the weaker the product gets.
Right, I agree. I certainly agree with that. Mm-hmm. Something else I want to ask you. Have you always played keyboards, or were there some other instruments that you were interested in?
Well, yeah, I started with piano and, keyboards. That's what I started with and have been with the longest. But along the way, I picked up, drums and percussion instruments and the bass and guitar. They kind of came a little later. But, they've been a big part of what I do. I play all the instruments on my records, and, if you're getting a Chris Jasper record, you're getting everything, everything is Chris Jasper. It's not just singing, I generally write the songs and play all the music and do all the backgrounds, Well, once in a while I have a little help on the backgrounds, my wife will come in once in a while and help on that, but, you're generally getting, everything from me. And I like that because I can play exactly what I want, Sometimes it's hard to tell another musician what to do, you know.
Right.
Look,
especially like Quincy Jones, where Quincy used to say, "Leave your ego outside the door."
Yeah. Yeah, you know, sometimes, you know, people, they want to do what they want to do, you know, and I like very specific parts, especially on funk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Funk is very specific if it's done well. You know, you break down any funk song, it's very specific, and you can't be going crazy and, you know, going wild, you know, on a funk song, you know, but sometimes it's hard to rein a musician in, you know.
Right, like they don't want to stay in the pocket. Huh?
Stay in the pocket, man. Play this part right here. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's hard to get them to do that, or it's hard to get them to feel what the part is doing. You know, sometimes people can play the exact same notes, but don't have the right feel. You know, and it doesn't sound the same. You know, which makes a difference between, say, a band that recorded a song and then you hear a cover band do it, right? And it doesn't sound the same, you know. And that's sometimes it's because they're not playing the right parts, but sometimes they're playing the right part, but not with the right feeling, you know, touch. You know, funk is a very touch-sensitive thing too, especially when you talk about keyboards and guitar and bass. You know,
I was going to ask you, what about a cover band that actually can play the song better than the original?
That rarely happens. Very rarely happens. I mean, because you know, I'll go to play sometimes, and I'll hear live bands, and you know, they'll play the song, and I said, that's good, you know, but you know, it's not like the record though. You know, it's not like Earth, Wind & Fire played it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, right. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they come close. I very rarely hear a band play it better than the original. I haven't heard that. Maybe that happens, but you know.
Well, I mean, that's why they came up with karaoke too, man. I mean, you can sit up there and study it for 50 weeks, you know, and you should be kind of good. You didn't played it and heard it a long time. You remember back in the day when we was in the studio, when we was dealing with the 24-track machines, and you could just punch in and punch out. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, the big tape, the 2-inch. Yeah.
Yep, the 2-inch. The 2-inch reel. I don't want to date myself, but I still have one.
Yeah, man. I mean, I have to say, you got some nice sounds. You know, nice sounds from the tape. You know, from the analog tape. I mean, it sounds good. You know, it's just harder to work with. You know, it's a lot more involved. But I
always thought, like I said, I thought the 2-inch tape, you know, we had those little nuances, like you could hear your fingers on the strings, or you could hear artists take a breath. Sometimes, to me, the digital stuff now is like a hospital. It's too clean. You know what I mean? It's just too clean. I know what you mean. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it had more of a punch to it too. You know, the analog. You know, it was just. I don't know if it's something I got used to, but when I hear it, I say I can hear a difference. You know. Yeah. There is a difference.
You're on point with that. Yeah, you're on point with that, because to me the analog sound, you know, like a lot of the old school cats, they used to say that it was fatter.
Yeah.
It was fatter.
Mhm.
And I know a lot of the artists probably listen to this. They don't. What is he talking about, fatter? They probably don't know what that means.
I know, but it just
sounds like the dynamics of the song. Of the music. You know, the keys, the bass. You know, the horns. You know, like you know, the horny horns brought to the table. I mean, the sound was just fatter. You know, you could resonate. It has a whole different. There's punch to it, like you said. It just has a whole other thing with it.
Yeah, it's different. It definitely is.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. But listen, for those just joining the show, got Mr. Chris Jasper talking to us about his music, his career. He's bringing us up to date about what he's been doing, what's going on. If you'd like to join the conversation, just press number 1. You don't have to be afraid. You know, he's not going to bite you. You know, just you might keep your mask on, but it'll be okay. Well, Chris, look, we got For the Love of You queued up, man. So we're gonna let our listeners put their ear on this.
Okay.
And we could chop it up some more, though. Hey, everybody, you know what I like to say. You know, let the windows down, turn the air conditioner up, and put your ears on this. It's For the Love of You, Mr. Chris Jasper.
every night. I'm gonna be living the love of you, girl. Living for the love of you, yeah.
I am indie. With your host, Lamont Patterson. I'm independent, but I'm in it. I'm feeling fine all the time. On my side, I am indie. Alicia Rain at the wave.
Yeah, everybody, we back with our guest today, Mr. Chris Jasper, and that was For the Love of You. And even if you don't know that song might have been the reason that you're here today. You might have got made on that song, y'all.
Yeah, I've heard those charges before.
Well, hey, look, you guilty, man, because they don't make them like that no more. You know what I mean? You didn't really have to know how to dance. You just knew how to go from side to side and stop in the middle a little bit.
Well, see, and that's the new arrangement. I slowed it down. You know, I don't know if people remember the slow dance, you know, the slow drag, you know, but put it in a little different tempo, a little different mood, you know. But, you know, we know what that's about.
Oh, yes, we do. That's why I said they may not know, but that might be the reason they're here. They need to go ask their mama, ask their daddy, ask their uncle, their cousin or somebody. You know.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I definitely love the vocals, man, and the production was fantastic on that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I thought I would give the backgrounds a little more, you know, to do in this particular version, you know, and kind of worked out really good.
Yeah, it did. It definitely did, man. Definitely. I like that song, and it definitely have your name all on it. If they look, they don't. You know how that's amazing too, because like you talked about a little bit earlier, Motown, you know, Philadelphia International, you know, Stax, some of the you know, older labels. You even if you didn't know the artist per se, you knew the sound. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You knew the sound, and that's what I'm hearing now. You know, even they don't remember your name right off. You know, they know your sound because your sound is distinctive.
Right. That's what I was going for. You know, I wanted to create that, and because I know when people can identify something, you know, they're more apt to pay attention to it. You know. Like I remember when I used to hear the Motown songs, I knew it was Motown as soon as it came out, you know. And then I would start listening to it, you know, say, hey, you know, well, who's doing that, you know, and get into the other part. But I knew right away it was a Motown song, you know. So I was going for that kind of creative sound, you know.
Well, you definitely accomplished. You definitely got that. Your name. So I see your name is all on it. That's your brand. You know, and that's a great thing. You know, you mentioned earlier we was talking about a feel and the soul and what's in a song, and I think that's what formulates the gift in the artist.
Yeah. I mean, I had an interview earlier today, and I was saying that you know, in a song, it's almost like you're an actor. You know, you have to portray what the songwriter's intent was. And I think the better you do that, you know, the better performances you're going to have, you know.
Well, that's like a lot of blues singers. The reason they were so good at singing blues is because they experienced a lot of things that they were singing about.
Exactly.
Would you agree?
Exactly. Yeah, and then they bring it out and they make you feel it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
You know, the listener has to feel, you know, what you're trying to portray. You know, and the better you do that, the better, you know, the reaction's going to be.
I think that's what's missing a lot in today's music. We're lacking the feel of the soul. You know, it's just, I'm not going to say just noise, but it's lacking the feel because, you know, how we were when we came up. I mean, couple minutes in the song, when, you know, once they set the groove, I mean, you felt that song. I mean, they had you because it got that feel. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And if it don't feel good, you could care less about what the lyrics are.
Oh, right, exactly. And I've always said, if you don't have a track, if that track is not singing by itself and it's not moving you by itself, then you got to start over. You know, it's no way you're gonna be able to communicate something without that music being right. You know, and I found that with every single hit record that I've ever had, is that the music by itself it'll move you by itself. Now, what you have to do next is sing a melody and a hook that's equally as moving, you know. Then you really got something special.
I'm glad you kind of mentioned that too, because it kind of leads into my next question. I mean, every you know, musician or songwriter have a different way that they, you know, put a pen to paper or you know, their ideas on a track. What is your thing? How do you come up? What do you do?
Well, generally, I have a musical idea first, you know, whether that be if I'm covering a song or if I'm writing something original. I'll usually have a musical direction where I want to take the song in. And then, you know, usually the melody comes as a result of the chord progressions I'm using. You know, the melody will come to me next. And then usually the lyric is the last thing that comes. But a lyric that matches what the music is portraying too. You know, I mean, you can't have a disjointed lyric. You know, that's not going to work. You know, so that's kind of the order that most songs come to me in. There's been some exceptions, you know, but for the most part, you know, the most majority is, you know, chord progression, melody, and then lyric.
As a multi-instrumentalist, I mean, do you find yourself, I mean, do you use your keys or your guitar? Or
Well, see, I wrote Caravan of Love on guitar. Caravan of Love I wrote on guitar. But most songs, most of the other ones on keyboards for sure. You know, maybe some funk stuff I've, you know, had guitar first. Like Showdown, I wrote that on guitar. But most of the time I'm on the keys, you know, writing.
If there's one thing that you could tell another artist out there that's listening to this show, I mean, some advice in terms of songwriting, what would you advise them to do? How would you advise them to approach it?
Well, write what you honestly feel. That's number one. Don't try to, you know, copy somebody else. Be honest with your material, because the more honest it is, the more effective it is. That's what I find. And also get feedback from people. You know, people that will be honest with you. You know, they give you the feedback, because that's important too. Because music, you're communicating, you know, with the audience. And I find a lot of times people may be writing maybe something that they feel is good, you know, but how is it received? You know, when people hear it, what do they do? Are they feeling what you're feeling? You know what I mean? And I always say songwriting is it's not for everybody. And a lot of people, ask me that question. I don't think you can really teach songwriting. It's not for everyone. I think it's a gift in a way. And either, you're blessed with that, or you can learn a lot about songwriting, but I'm saying, songwriting and doing it for hits and doing it consistently. I think that's kind of a gift, and
Agreed.
It's good to just realize that too, because it'll stop some frustrations. Some people, because some people feel, well, if so and so wrote a hit, I can too. Well, not necessarily.
That's true. Hey, look, because every hit maker don't write all hits all the time.
Exactly. It's sometimes it's a trial and error thing, where you try something and everything doesn't work. It's sort of like an invention. Every invention an inventor comes up with, it doesn't work. And he has to go back to the drawing board. And it's the same thing with songwriting. Everything you write isn't going to be great. You have to be able to, erase. I remember in composition, I learned a very important lesson. And the professor told me, he said, the composer's best tool is their eraser. And I didn't get it at first when he said it. It dawned on me when the class was over. I said, oh, now I understand what he's talking about. Because everything you write isn't going to be great. You have to be able to go back, revise it, work on it. And that's very important, to detach yourself from what you're doing. A lot of people's egos get involved in their writing, and that's the last place your ego should be.
I was going to ask you about that too, Chris, about artists being able to humble themselves and be able to accept corrective criticism.
That's right. If you're egotistical and you start writing, you should just quit. Because
immediately.
Just quit. Just stop. Because what you come up with probably is not going to, work. It's something you have to work at and be honest about. You have to be honest about it. You have to take your feelings out of it. And that's the only way you get to a place where, all right, I really feel like I'm doing something now. Because you have to take yourself out of it. And I know that's hard for some people to do, but you have to learn that. You have to learn how to be selfless. And once you get to that place, then, you know how, you remember the story of Karate Kid? How he made him do other little things to get him to train, to get his mind straight. He didn't even teach him any karate at first. Told him to paint the fence, do this, do that, do that. Just do some menial things that will get your mind straight. Then the teaching starts. And that's kind of how you have to be as a composer. You can't have this giant ego and be a great composer, because it gets in the way. Ego and composition fight each other.
If anybody's ever worked around Quincy Jones, boy, that's one lesson that they definitely learned.
Oh yeah, he'll tell you in 1 second. Leave your ego outside. This is not about ego here. Look who you are. I mean, when he was working on that song, We Are the World. I mean, you had some of the biggest stars in the world coming in there.
Yep, I was around doing that. Back on the block and stuff.
Don't come in here saying I'm Mr. So-and-so. It's not about that, People call you what they call you. You're not supposed to be calling yourself anything. You know what I mean? You let the people call you something. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about it. I never felt I was, extraordinary, great person. I don't think that way. I mean, if somebody else calls me that, that's that's them saying that. I'm not saying that to myself, though. I'm saying there's still something I can do. There's still something I can accomplish. There's still something I haven't done. You know what I mean? I'm always hungry. I'm always hungry. And
that's why you continue to have the success that you have as well.
Yeah, I don't feel I've reached a pinnacle or anything, even though people tell me I have. But that's them telling me. You know what I mean? That's not me saying it.
Right.
There's a big difference.
A total big difference, because if that's when you start feeling like that, the day is almost over, man. But as long as you don't feel like that, you got a lot more to give, a lot more life, a lot more drive, a lot more creating to do. But once you throw the pen and pencil away, then, you're totally on a extended vacation, so to speak.
Yeah, I've seen it before where people, they stick their chest out and say, "Oh yeah, I'm so and so," and then you see creativity. Well, they haven't done that in 5 years or 10 years. What happened? You know what I mean? It's like, well, that fights creativity.
Right.
You see what I mean?
They start talking about they got writer's block.
Yeah, it pours water on the fire, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't be like that and continue to be consistent and creative. You can't. The two things don't match.
And that's some definitely jewels you give to our listeners that they definitely need to write down and adhere to. And I guess to put it in a real simple term, learn how to get out of your own way.
There you go. There you go.
Yes. We got another song of yours up here, Chris. We're going to let our listeners put their ear on this, and then, we can come back and talk about it. Nothing can change this love.
Yes. All right.
Yes. Everybody, you know the drill. Let the windows down, turn the air conditioner up, and put your ears on this. Nothing can change this love, Mr. Chris Jasper.
If I could go a million miles away, I'd write you a letter each and every day. 'Cause honey, nothing can ever change this love I have for you. Only you. You can make me weep, oh yeah, and you can make me cry when you see me coming, and you just pass me by. But girl, there ain't nothing can ever change this love I have for you. Oh, for you. You're the apple of my eye, your cherry pie, baby. Oh, you know your cake and ice cream. Oh, your sugar and spice and everything nice, baby. And guess what? You're the girl of my dream. Oh, if you wanted to leave and you wanted to roam, and when you get back, I'll just say, welcome home, honey, 'cause there ain't nothing, no. You know there ain't nothing, no.
Yeah, Mr. Chris Jasper. Nothing can change his love. You know, Chris. You know. I heard a little Sam Cooke in there.
Oh yeah, man, that's his song. You know, that's one of his classics. And my wife and I, we were listening to his greatest hits, and this song, "Nothing Can Change This Love," came on, and Margie said, hey, Chris, you can do something with this one. I'm sure, because we were looking for things to cover, And I said, yeah, okay, I'm gonna work with this. And the more I worked with it, the more I liked it, man. And I really enjoyed doing it because he was like, my favorite singer, like a soul singer, and it was just a great thing to do a tribute to him, and because he influenced me in a lot of ways with vocally, so very happy with doing that song.
Right, and you did it well, my friend. You definitely did it well. So my hat's off to that, man, and I definitely enjoyed it, and I'm sure our listeners out there enjoying it. I mean, because you're taking us back to real music,
Yeah, I think that's important, that people don't forget, where all this stuff started and where it came from, and, that was like the beginnings of, R&B, getting popular, becoming popular, they used to call the blues like, race music, and a lot of people wouldn't play it. But when Sam came along, the stuff he was doing was really, really, really different, and he had a style that, everybody started to accept, he crossed over, and he was doing great things, and I just don't want people to forget that, because R&B is like, one of the jewels of this country,
That's true.
And we can't forget it. We can't forget it,
You're
man.
absolutely right. Chris,
You know what I'm
let
saying?
me jump in here, man. Yes. Let me jump in here, man. We got down to the minute and a half, man. The show flies when you're having fun and great conversation. But I want you to tell our listeners how to get in touch with you, how to get your music, and where they can get it at.
Oh, sure. Yeah, just go to chrisjasper.com, and then that'll take you to all the different places where you can get the music. All of my albums are on there. Facebook is on there, everything. chrisjasper.com.
Right, man. I definitely enjoyed kicking it with you again, man. You're welcome to come back anytime, man, because, I love to talk to real musicians, songwriters, and just all-around great people, man. I definitely enjoyed the show and this time with you, man.
I enjoyed being on with you, man, and thank you, and thanks to the fans always. Thanks to all the listeners and people that follow my career, man. I'm very thankful.
Yes, and you be safe out there. And for all our listeners, this show will be available worldwide in about 2 minutes, so you don't have no excuse if you missed any part of it. You could hear it on all the platforms. It's not any platform out there this show is not going to be available. And check it out. You won't be disappointed. And for all you artists out there, Chris dropped some jewels that could definitely help you with your career. And that's all I got for today. Thank you again, Chris. Enjoyed you, man. Be safe. And for all our listeners, we'll be back next week, same time. And again, we appreciate you. Be safe out there and be safe and good to others.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right. Talk to you later, my friend.
Okay.
Great show, everyone. So definitely check it out from the beginning. You definitely won't be disappointed. Oh, man, the music just blew me away. I'm so excited.
Guess what? Your time is up. 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 Guess what? Your kingdom. Guess what? Your time is up. Not by power, not by might, but by my spirit, said the Lord. You must free my Israelites. I'm standing by the door, and I know what you've been doing. You've done my years they've lived in fear, and now come to make them strong. Babylon, on your kingdom. Your time is Babylon, your kingdom. Your time is Babylon, your kingdom. It must come down, Babylon, your kingdom. It must come down. On this rock I build my church. All power belongs to me. Where were you when I hung the stars? Oh, Satan, you've got to flee. I split the Red Sea open, turned water into wine. Made the dumb to talk and the lame to walk, and gave eyesight to the blind. Babylon, your kingdom. It must come down. 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 So, guess what? Your time is up. Guess what? Your time is up. I strike 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 your time is up. Babylon, where your kingdom? It must come down. Babylon, your kingdom. It must come down. Babylon, your kingdom. It must come down. Babylon, your kingdom. It must come down. This is the words of Yahweh. Yes, every word is true. I fed the hungry multitude, and I'll do the same for you. I came to give you more life, and that abundantly. If you let your light shine, so every man can see. And Babylon, your kingdom. It must come down. 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 So, guess what? Your time is up. Talking about your power. Guess what? Your time is up. You can't stop your power. Guess what? Your time is up. Talking about your power. Guess what? Your time is up. You can't stop your power. Guess what? Your time is up. Babylon, your kingdom. It must come down. Babylon, oh, your kingdom. It must come down. Babylon, your kingdom. It must come down. Babylon, oh, your kingdom. It must come down. Babylon.